Hi, my name's Jim Bubba Bay, and I'm 57 years old from Pine Plains, New York. Me and my ex-wife, we just split up from a long marriage. We had two kids that died in our marriage. My one son was premature and died after living 10 days. And then after he died, we found out one of my oldest twin sons had kidney disease. And then he died at the age of 18. All the medical bills and just all the, having two kids die. And we still cared for each other, just kind of wore in the marriage. And so we decided it was time to split up. And then I lived alone. So when my kids weren't here, I was kind of lonely and kind of bored in a way. And I did walking, and also my big hobby is metal detecting, treasure hunting and stuff. So I do that. So those are two things I did to keep busy. So I decided to go for a walk near my house, and it's a dead end road. And I've been down, my sister used to live down at the end, and I've been in cars and stuff like that, to visit her, but I never walked down that way. It wasn't what I did. I lived close to the entrance of the dead end road. So I decided I would go for a walk, but it wasn't the kind of walk that I was doing 6 miles a day or whatever like that. It was just a walk. And there's no streetlights on the road, and there's not many houses, but if you go towards the entrance to the main road, there's a town hall across the street. They have street lights, in the parking lot. And I'm like, it's a town road. I just walk on the road, go for a little bit. It was, dark, 7 o'clock, something like that at night. And I started walking down towards the entrance. That was my whole goal, go down there a little bit, walk home. And I ended up walking to the entrance, and on the main road, the car pulled off the road and they were drunk, real rowdy and and all that. And I was like, okay, that's not very good to, all of a sudden show up out of nowhere and people being drunk. I mean, there's some happy drunks, some mad drunks. You just never know what you're going to get. So I said, well, I better turn around. So I turned around and I got back to my house, and it's not far. I don't know, 2/10 of a mile. I went down and back. There's a hill in front of my house, not very big, but it's a hill. And I said, well, let me go down the hill. I'll go down a little ways and I'll turn around and come home. And that's what I thought was happening. And so that's what I did. I went down the hill. I ended up going past what ended up being my neighbor's house. And I got a little bit past her house. And I said, okay, well, it's time to, go home. I can go home and lay down and relax. And so I turned around and crossed the road and I started heading up. And I saw car lights on the top of the hill. They like shine further than they are. And a lot of cars would come in and turn around in our driveway, because it's not only the house driveway, it's a landscape shop. So it's a big opening. So a lot of people come down the road, they turn around, oh, dead end road, I better turn around. At the time, it was the first place to turn around on the left. And I saw car lights. So when I walked, especially in that situation, you get off the road and you stop, and then you give time for the car to come and go past you. So that's what I did. And that's when my life turned upside down. I stepped off the side of the road to get kind of on the edge to, be near the woods and the stuff. And next thing I know, I free fell. The world just opened up, and there I was. I was falling head first. It's like a big black hole swallowed me up. Because I stumbled when I got off the side of the road, and I fell sideways, and over this ravine I went head first, flying through the air. I hit my head on a rock, and it was a drainage ditch. Part of the year it has water in it, and part of the year it don't. I got lucky to fall when there was no water, because if there was water, I probably wouldn't be here. That fact alone. Yeah, so I hit my head really hard, and lights out. I was, unconscious. I don't know how long though. It could have been 2 seconds, 10 seconds, a minute. I came to, and I was in so much pain. Wow, it was just through the roof kind of pain. And I broke my left shoulder, but I didn't break my right shoulder. So I reached across, I hit my left side of my head, and I reached across with my hand, and my fingers went in my skull. Then I knew I was in really, really deep trouble. It was pretty big crack in my head, open, bleeding like crazy. I thought about my cell phone. Then I said, oh, this is Hammertown Road. The cell service is horrible. And the other thing is I had the old flip phone at that time. And unless somebody calls you, the thing don't light up, and you got to open the thing. And I was like, okay, too much energy wasted. And then I think it's natural. You call out for help, but it's a dead end road on a Sunday night. And most people are home. So I just kind of called out. I yelled out, please God, please help me. I don't know how long I yelled, but I yelled for a little while. And then I realized that even myself, that it was such effort to yell, and it was getting lower and lower and lower. And I was like, okay, well, that's not working. No one's coming. So I gave up on that. I don't know. Everybody has different experiences. For me, it really did start to happen. Like my life started to, go before me, and I started to get real emotional. Of course, I was crying already. And I started thinking about my kids. I have 3 kids still living. I have 2 that passed away. So it was quite a battle in the whole, in the culvert. And then I realized that I got to move. I didn't know if I could move right yet. I was in severe pain. And then it kind of dawned on me, if I'm paralyzed, I'm dead. If I can move, maybe I can die nicer. I know it sounds crazy, but that I had no hope of living. I broke my neck, so I couldn't really move too much, but I kind of could look a little bit, and I saw to my left was this field, and then to my right was this big black shadow of a wall. And I said, that must be where I came from. And up there is the road. So I said, that's where I got to go. So I decided I have to go, and if I can move, I'll get there to die. And that was my goal. So I started crawling. The pain was through the roof. And I got to this hill, and I started climbing the hill. So I climbed and fell backwards and climbed. It was quite the effort. So I came up to this point, and I got to this log. At the time, I couldn't describe it. I just knew I was laying on this log. So I got to this log like a man on the side of a boat that was sinking. And I said, I made it. I can close my eyes and that'll be it. So that's what I did. I ended up closing my eyes and I said, it's time to die. So I was laying on this log and closed my eyes and I was content. All of us, I think, can relate to when we were kids. We overslept and our parents turned the light on inside our bedroom, and all of a sudden, like for some reason, our eyes opened because the light was so bright outside. And that's what happened to me. I was laying there and all of a sudden this light got brighter and it was like burning the outside of my eyes. It made me open my eyes. And it just was the most gorgeous scene. The whole valley was lit up. It was like, I was so overwhelmed in awe. It was like amazing. It just was, you went from so dark to all of a sudden so bright, and it was getting brighter. I looked out, and this figure was coming towards me. Then I could move my head a little bit, and I looked, and it came closer. And as it came closer, it got a little more detailed. And for me, it was an older grandfatherly kind of God and Jesus. That's who I interpreted as God. At the time, I wouldn't understand. So that's what had to come to me. To me, this grandfatherly figure came. And then next thing you know, over to his right were my 2 kids. And they were there in the background. And they looked like I assumed them to look. And I never talked to them. I never said anything to them. They never said anything to me. But fast forward, somebody helped me like a few years after my accident. They were kind of there to help me understand that, like I said before, my son lived 10 days. You believe in heaven, that's where he had to come from. So everything I was seeing was coming from heaven. And the figure that approached me, it turned out to be God. Most people say can't see God. And I say to him that the figure said to me, my son Jesus. So that's why I said I met God. Now I'm confused even more because I don't know. At first I was like, is this the way, you go to heaven? And then we started talking. All along my whole life, one of the reasons why I don't know the Bible is I was always upset that if it's really God's word, why is all this killing in the Bible? So I didn't read it. And if you met God or Jesus and you had a really, really big question that can be answered, he's going to answer it. And so that was answered that night for me, that his word, Jesus and God, they continue on. The Bible continues on. But those in power that use the Bible for their own good, they fall out of power and they do all this killing and stuff. And any kind of, religion and anything like that. So that was one of our part of our conversation. Well, my faith and my hope and everything was gone. And I say God and Jesus, whoever wants to say I met, ended up filling me up with all this hope and faith. And then he said I had things for him to do. And, and I was like, I don't know, what do I have to do? Again, I'm just Bubba Bay. I'm just your normal old guy. And what am I going to do? And I got things to do. And he said, keep my eyes open to all different things. And I'm like, okay, all right. And then it's done. It would be like us meeting on the road, but that's all I needed. And I didn't go anywhere. Well, I was still in pain when he was there, but I was in such awe of seeing my kids, God, Jesus, whatever you want to think. I was just in awe. I think that's part of what happened, why I was like, didn't hurt as bad. And I know it's going to be crazy. It sounds symbolic, but I was able to turn my head a little bit to my left. And I saw this house, and it had this little light in this room, this little tiny light, and this one window was lit up. And I said, oh, that's where I got to go. I got to try. So I ended up getting to my knees. And as I got to my knees, the gravity started weighing on me and stuff. And then I said, I got to get up. So I got up one time, and I fell back down. And then I said to myself, well, so if you want to see your kids that are living, you got to put a little effort into it. I got to stay on my feet. And that's what I did. I actually got up and I started to move. I was up and the pain was through the roof. And I just shuffled my feet and shuffled my feet. And I kept doing it. And I'm like, gotta get there, gotta get there. So I go and I ring the doorbell at the house. I finally get to it, and there's a stoop, and I kind of step on that, and I ring the doorbell, and I stand there. And then my poor neighbor opened the door, and I don't know whether she said she would, or I even had the wherewithal. Can you call 911? Or I don't know. 911 was mentioned. So she saw how bad I was, and she turned around and she went up the stairs and got her phone. When she came back, I disappeared. I was done. That was it. I passed out on her lawn. So then I was in and out, in and out. So she finally gets 911. It ended up being foggy that night. My cousin, the sheriff, came. He's a sheriff. I was so bad that he was very close to me, and he had no idea it was me. I gave my neighbor my brother's number to call, and my brother came and got my parents next door. With all this going on, the amazing thing is our little town has a volunteer firehouse. And the next thing you know, this couple were at the firehouse. Here's a 911 call. They take an old bag, and they throw every kind of gauze, everything they could think about. It was incredible. And then it was too foggy, like I said, so they couldn't fly a helicopter. So I had to take an ambulance down to Poughkeepsie, which is like 45-minute ride. And oh my God, that was horrible. So I got to the hospital, and so I was in a coma like 7 days or so. And then I got out of a coma. They got me out. And then I was like, wow, I met God. I was like 95, 96%, 70%, 99%. I was somewhere in there, like depending on the day, with that little bit. And I was like, no, this really happened to me. I went to rehab. The incredible thing is, with all that fractures and all that damage, I never had any surgery. The only thing I had was a vena cava filter put in me. And I always forget to say, but I had blood transfusions, which saved my life too. So I was only in the main hospital like 15, 16 days, 17, something like that. It was quick. I think it's a give and take. I got chronic pain, but before I fell, I was a very shy introvert. And when it came to meeting strangers and talking and everything like that, and I say I got the gift of sociability. That was the trade-off. I got chronic pain, but I got the gift of sociability. And I'll talk to anybody. I do inspirational speaking. I talk to a bunch of crowds, anybody, one-on-one, you name it, I do it. And then they started having all these events, the shaman circle and the Reiki healing and the law of attraction, and learning about the Vikings and the Akashic records and all this incredible stuff. And I had no idea, but I just learned all this stuff, and it's been an incredible journey. It's just been a wonderful journey, and I'm blessed to be here. I still make mistakes. I'm just human and like everybody else. And I just love meeting people and people telling me the stories. I would tell people my story, and if they know, they'll say something or not, or I just attract them and they start talking to me. You can drop me in Walmart and someone will come tell me some crazy story that other people might think is crazy, but me, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I relate to that. So it's been a wonderful journey. Just really has.
Hey, fellow NDE fans, we have some exciting things coming up on the other side, but we could really use your help and support to keep going with this channel. Our outreach team works around the clock, making sure to bring you the best NDE stories that we can find. But now we're looking to expand into other countries to get near-death experiences from around the globe. However, we need your help and support to make this happen. This is why we're introducing our YouTube membership program. Get access to exclusive ad-free episodes that haven't been on YouTube. Watch and participate in live Q&As with the guests. Engage directly with us and NDEers. Participate in giveaways and live events. And most importantly, you will ensure our channel's continuous efforts to seek out and uncover these important experiences worldwide. Support us by hitting the Join Now button below. Thank you for your continued viewership and support. Your help will make a difference, and we look forward to building our community together with you.